Greetings from the Eccentric Man, and today we are playing some bolt action. Not played it for a little while, so not since the tournament really, I don't think. No, so we're going to have a quick game playing John, as we normally do sometimes. And he's brought his BEF along, and I've got my Blitzkrieg Germans, and we're going to have a little game, and we're going to go for hold until relieved. And what we've got to hold until relieved is a sentry box, which is going to be quite amusing. 1,000 points each, and I'll go through the armies very shortly. First up's John's army, and he's running 2 infantry platoons. I won't split them down and what they are, because I'm not quite sure what he's got there. But he starts off with each platoon with a first lieutenant. And that was going to be quite crucial actually in the game, so it was a good move for John. He's then got 4 rifle sections, much the same for each army. He's got an anti-tank rifle. He's got a 2-pounder anti-tank gun, and it could be 2 anti-tank rifles. Yep, could be two anti-tank rifles, 1 in each platoon perhaps. He's got a medium mortar. He's got a Vickers 6C, which is the one with the auto cannon, and he's got the C9 cruiser tank, and that's got a light anti-tank gun and a machine gun in the turret, and 2 machine guns in the hull. And then he's got an armoured car, which is the little carrier there, and he's got the British carrier, not artillery observer. So that was John's army. Forgot to mention that all of John's army is regular, with the exception of one thing, which is a veteran, but I can't for the life of me remember what it is. Anyway, yep, all regular, and for the national characteristic, John has taken rapid fire. So for every 3 British riflemen, you get an extra dice for shooting. So that makes the firepower quite reasonable with the British. My Blitzkrieg army is just 1 platoon, being led by a 2nd lieutenant and his mate, both of them armed with submachine gun. I've then got 3 regular here units, all 8 men, and all the same kit out, which is an NCO with an SMG, 6 riflemen, and LMG and loader. My 4th infantry squad is a pioneer squad. I don't have a flamethrower in my Blitzkrieg army at the moment, so I just took an LMG. But within the squad of 8 men, there's 5 with SMGs and 1 with an LMG. So that's the bulk of my infantry. For support units, I've taken an anti-tank rifle and a medium mortar with a spotter. So that gives me a little bit of artillery fire. And I've taken the 36mm, 36, not the 30, but it's the PAC 36, 37mm light anti-tank gun. It's one of the new Rubicon, not new now, but one of the Rubicon plastic ones, and that was quite good fun to put together. Easier than the metal. So that's sort of the support units that I have. I've then got a truck, which is veteran with an MMG, and that's to take the pioneers, who are my only veteran unit. I've then got the SDKZ 2316 Rad. It's the earlier version of the armoured car with also cannon and a medium machine gun. Finally, to finish it all off, I've got the Panzer IV B to D, one of those variants, and it's got the light howitzer and it's got 9 armour. So it's quite a tough little tank, but not overly powerful in the anti-tank market with its light howitzer. But that's my army. So we've decided to play hold until relieved. I won the role for the choice, and I've decided to be defender. So with hold until relieved, you've got to nominate 2 units to be within 6 inches of the objective, and the objective starts in the centre and it can move left or right up to 12 inches, but it's got to be maximum of 6 inches in diameter. So that's what we've done. We've done the little hut and the barrier arm. So that's my my first 2 units on the board. I've then got to divide my force into half and have half as the first wave and second half as reserves. John in this scenario can bring any of his troops onto the table, any of his infantry onto the table, but they cannot be more than 18 inches closer to my troops. They've got to be at least 18 inches away. So it gives him a bit of a scope for his troops. So my cunning ploy is to have the units in the centre keep and hold, put the infantry unit down, and hopefully use the armour of the armoured car and the Panzer IV and the little 37mm anti-tank gun to try and control John's armour. Maybe a bit tricky. He's got the C9 cruiser tank and he's got the Vickers 6C, so fairly evenly matched with those, so it might come down to who kills who first. But John has got the anti-tank rifles. I've got one myself, but then John's got the 2-pounder, so yeah, evenly-ish matched. So I'm going to put the Pioneers in the truck and I'm going to send them down the road to take the objective or bolster the unit that's on it. That's my theory. Use them as my outflanking force to the left. Let's see how that goes. So into turn 1 and it's first blood to John. He no, you took out a man, didn't you?
Oh yeah, killed one.
Yeah, you took out the first. You took out one of my men on the front. I put them down to keep them protected, but John did kill one. His artillery observer has dropped the spotting shell here, so that's possibly going to get the mortar man, and may well also get the infantry unit at the front. I've put the tank hopefully in a safe position. He fired his 2 machine guns at the unit behind the hedge and killed 2.
Right, he killed none.
Oh, didn't kill? No, he didn't kill any, didn't he? He just put a pin. And yeah, and it was the armoured car that shot across to those people behind the hedge and killed 2. So that was useful. He is safe out the way. I've moved on this infantry unit this side because I didn't want to bring him on from the left. John's mortar is ranged in, not ranged in, but it needs a 5 next turn to hit the unit in the centre there, which I think they're just going to be. They're just going to be feeding units for that to protect that objective. So we're going to move into turn 2. And our reserves can come on. So John's got quite a fair bit in reserve, and I've got a couple of units to bring on in reserve, and 2 units, the truck and the Pioneers, in outflank. So moving into turn 2. Into turn 2, and John has been very cagey in this game. In this turn, he moved his anti-tank rifle team out of the cover to take a shot at my armoured car, and that was going to be close range, moved for soft cover 5, so it was going to be a 5, but still a 5, and just needing, it would have needed 5 or 6 to do a 5 to glance, 6 to penetrate. So I decided I would shoot them, so I did, but I had to make that consideration because I knew he was going to bring his tanks on after that, which he did. So it was bait for me to fire, and I thought, no, we'll take him out anyway. It may have been the wrong decision, but hey ho. I did move up my little anti-tank gun in this turn, just to get in a position to take a shot at the little tanks down there. John had targeted this armoured car and managed to immobilise it, turret jam it, and give it 3 pins. So it's not going to do much this turn, in turn 3. These went down and lost another man and gained another pin, and they're ranged in on a 4 with the mortar, so a bit tricky for them. tried to move a few things out of the way. John's hoping that this is going to move again. And I've got these 3 units over here. The anti-tank rifle, and my tanks over here, and 1 infantry squad. I've still got the truck and the pioneers off table. Why I've done this is to try and sort out this little recce carrier and this small anti-tank gun, and also these tanks over here, which is a bit of a problem. However, I did miss as well, firing at the anti-tank gun and the recce carrier with the Panzer IV. Failed, sadly. So going to move into turn 3 now. I think John's slightly got the edge, I think, at the moment, but I've still got the objective. So he's got to try and get up to take that on, and I am sort of bolstering my infantry units on the flanks. So into turn 3, reserves that are in outflank can come on. Well, that was a little messy. The infantry unit on this side was okay, and the mortar wasn't hit on the 1, and this unit over here wasn't hit on the 1. However, the anti-tank rifle team took a hit on a 6, so therefore the template comes out, and the template was able to cover the anti-tank rifle team and the mortar team, and John has managed to wipe out the whole of the mortar team. Mind you, there was only 2 men left, but he did roll 3 kills, and then he took out 1 man from the anti-tank rifle team, and I rolled, oh yeah, and then he rolled a 6 for D6 pins, so I had 6 pins to take, and failed the leadership test, surprisingly. So those 2 units have gone at the beginning of turn 3. So that was a bit of a harsh one. Well, a good turn for John this time around. Had a bit of luck with the run of the dice being pulled out of the bag, and with that he was able to take out the armoured car. But remember, he had also, with the preliminary bombardment, taken out the mortar team. Not the preliminary bombardment, it was the artillery observer. Managed to take out the mortar and also the anti-tank rifle, so that caused us some grief in that little centre bit. Moved up the infantry to the fence. They had been being shot at, and I managed to kill 1, put a pin on the units to the front, but there's still quite a heavy presence in the centre there. Took a shot with the anti-tank gun, took a shot at the little Mark 6, but didn't get a hit, which was a bit of a shame because I'm firing at long range and through cover, so just a little bit. I needed 5 and got a 4. John's being quite canny and used, well, I suppose canny, he used 3 units to take shots at the Panzer IV, and managed to put two pins on it, but he did use the anti-tank rifle from the Bren gun armoured car, used the 2-pounder anti-tank, and used the 2-pounder on the A9. So yeah, I've got the 2 pins, but it was enough for me to fail the leadership check, so didn't lose a pin and went down, which was a bit of a shame. Yeah, so that was a bit of a problem. In the centre, more casualties and more pins. The mortar hit this time, didn't it? So only needs a 2 on the next turn. So they are in trouble. But there's 4 of them there. I'm still holding off the pioneers in outflank, and I'm hoping that they may be able to do something when they come on. But unfortunately, they don't have a flamethrower. They've just gone LMG. So that's a bit of a shame. Not much anti-armour in that unit. I think it was worth breaking into the video here, and it's turn 4, and I thought I'd bring my truck on and race it up the road to get to the objective. I know it's only turn 4, but John had his little gun on ambush, and I thought, should I? And I thought, well, okay, then it's sort of 50-50. Well, no more than 50-50, because he needed a 5 to hit it, which he did. and that meant that it got its first couple of pins. It wasn't set on fire that time, was it? No. It was just stunned. So it stopped where it got hit and went down and got 2 pins for the stun. And then John brought up 1 infantry unit and took a shot at the truck and set it on fire. So I got another 2 pins. Not quite sure. I've got 5 pins, 7 pins.
Well, I think you're giving yourself one.
I've probably given myself one too many, haven't I?
Yes.
So that was on fire, and then the next unit has come up. And what did that do?
That fired on it, and
that fired upon it, and that immobilised me. So that gave me another 2 pins. So I probably should only have 6 pins.
Yeah, I think you might only have 6.
So only 6 pins. And then John said, "I'm going to bring on my light mortar team." So you can see it there at the back. And he says, "I only need a 6 to hit it," and he rolled a 6. So the little truck now has got to take a hit
at -1. Yeah, but you count on top, innit?
But it's soft. It's a complicated one. I don't think we've ever
see
had.
what I roll.
See what you roll.
Stupid.
2. You roll stupid.
Yeah.
So
still hit though.
Still hit. Still gets a pin.
No, it gets whatever I roll on the dice in a D. It's 2 pins.
2 pins.
So if you want, so it's been hit, 2 pins.
Yeah. So you get hit.
That doesn't do anything, I don't think.
And the 2 was for penetration, wasn't it?
Yeah. So you're 6.
Yeah.
Down to 5.
Yeah. And even on top, you're going to get
another -1, is it?
Yeah.
Which is 4.
Yeah.
Which I only get because that's a 1.
Yeah.
So I only get 3.
Yeah. So just another pin. 2 pins, in fact.
Yeah, 2 pins because I.
2 pins. So I survived, but that's quite a lot of pins for the truck.
That's 8 altogether.
8 pins for the truck, and of course it's 8 pins on the pioneers who are in the middle of it. So we thought we might as well play this one because John's going to use his A9 tank to do some shootings. He's got independent machine guns in the hull and the turret anti-tank gun. So he's going to use one of the independent machine guns to fire at my unit up here to try and suppress them, put a pin on them or kill a couple. That's just had a fly land on my hand. And then he's going to use the other machine gun to fire at the truck to see if he can pin out. I've got 8 pins, and they're both the truck's veteran and the infantry veteran. So he's gonna go with 5 dice to see if he can pin it out. He needs a 6 with one of those 5s, and then he needs to roll on the damage table.
Yep.
And then he's going to go for the anti-tank gun at the Panzer IV. Now that's pretty bold going for John. Right, so machine guns against the ones behind the hedge.
That's 3 long range, 4 soft cover fire.
5s, yep.
That'd be 2 hits.
2 hits, needing 4s.
Pin and 1 dead.
1 dead and pins. Okay, so we still don't need to take a leadership test.
No.
So yeah, okay, so
Pin on them and
1 pin and a man dead. Truck.
Nothing. Is it? I think actually 3 long range, 4 soft cover 5.
Is it long range 5? Yeah, it's going to be 5s.
It's going to be 5, isn't it? I think it's
Yeah.
long range. Yeah, it's long range.
Yeah.
Now I need a 6.
Yeah.
2.
Not this time, but it's a pin.
It's a pin.
But it's a pin, so that takes that up to 9
plus 9.
9 pins.
And then the main gun.
And the main gun at the tank.
We're at long range.
So it's long range 4, soft cover 5. Nah. It was worth a go. Certainly worth a go. Phew. End of turn 4, and yeah, trickiness. The truck now has got 9 pins, because as you saw with that little video in between, with the A9 taking so many shots at different angles and the different directions. So, yep, the truck survived, the infantry survived, and the big tank survived. So, yeah, we're going into turn 4. Things that I managed to kill.
Turn 5.
Turn 5, going into turn 5. Things that I managed to kill. Well, the little Vickers tank I hit with the anti-tank gun, so that was good. and I managed to force back the Vickers, the little armoured car, and I did only put one pin on the anti-tank gun, which John was able to then put in ambush for my truck coming on later. So that was could have been better, but yeah. So it's pretty on a knife edge, really. So John at the moment is holding the objective. All I've got to do is get somebody within 3 inches of it to contest it at the end of the game. And it can be anyone really, but I'm running out of people to do it. Oh yes, and I foobarred with this unit, because they were up there, they were going to move across the field and put another pin on the anti-tank gun to give it 2 pins, so it would still have had a pin to fire. But unfortunately, they foobarred, which caused that truck to have so much grief. So anyway, in we go to turn 5. So we're into first dice of turn 5. So John has been looking at the odds and he thinks he only needs a 2+ to kill the truck, because he needs a 2 to hit it, and it's going to be a 1.
A 2 would give me a pin, and that's enough pins to destroy it.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Because I rolled a dice, didn't I?
Yeah. Well, it's into turn 6 next, and at the end of turn 5, the truck has finally gone, but it meant that my Pioneer unit got thrown out. And they did pick up some extra pins, so at the moment, although I dropped quite a lot of pins to take them down to, I think, 2 or 3 pins, they've now got another 3 pins back up, so I'm going to have to rally them next. But that is giving me some soft cover to the tank. John did hit it with his anti-tank gun, which is over there, before the infantry unit moved up, and he put one... No, he didn't. He put a pin on it, but failed to penetrate on the flank, so that was lucky. I tried to shoot this unit here. They had moved up, so I needed 5s with 12 dice and rolled 1, so killed 1 and put 1 pin on. I'm not even sure I killed 1. Just put 1 pin on. This unit I forced to go down with my unit that has been wiped out by the A9, but it was a bit of a risk for John, and I popped up with the light gun, took a shot, and we stunned the little tank and put 2 pins on it. So that's got 2 pins on. But John's got a senior leader, not a sort of senior leader. He's got a first lieutenant hiding behind the building. As you can see, I've got my infantry unit close by and my officer team, and the anti-tank gun left, Pioneers, and the Panzer IV. So it's pretty much down to the wire for this scenario. So we're heading into 6 to see if anyone can sneak a win, or it will be a hard, tough-fought draw. End of turn 6, and we are contesting the objective. I managed to hang on, despite loads of John's work, to try and get the unit of 3 men down. I've got a little man held in reserve just in case we go into turn 6 and I can zap him round the corner, but then that really does depend on me having the last dice available. I did move up my Panzer IV and did kill 3 of the guys behind the hedge there. You can see them with the double 6s there. That's not anything to do, but they passed their leadership test, because John's officer, who was there before he moved, his first lieutenant, and they were good with their leadership test. John tried to take out the Panzer IV with his little armoured car. Did get a glance and did get a turret jam. So that was a bit nasty. They immobilised it and gave me 2 pins, which was not good. Had to rally the Pioneers, who took a lot of firepower again. And those pesky little light mortars have been peppering away at different things. So, dice-wise, I've got 1 unit of Pioneers doing nothing. They're well out of it now. Panzer IV can't move, and his turret's jammed. and a unit of 3 here, and my unit of 2, and my little artillery piece. It's still going strong. So we're going to go and see if we're going to move into turn 4. John's got 2 units of infantry on the other side of the road, 2 officers close by. The tanks got 4 pins. Interesting to see where we go. Go on then, John. Let's see whether we're going to turn 7. And we don't. Ends at turn 6. And it is a really hard-fought draw.
Yeah,
And there's been some real fun in that with some of the dice rolls. And I hope you've enjoyed some of the little moments of humour and amusement that we've had
Just don't
in the
say
game.
I'm going to roll and I'll roll a 1 again.
Yeah,
Don't
just
say it.
just don't say I'm going to video. I'll video this one because it's interesting. Anyway, thank you very much for watching.
Cheers.
Well, that was a good game. Lots of swings and to and fro, and we were talking about at the end, where did it go wrong? Where did it go wrong? And John thought it went wrong for him when he rolled the 1 for that mortar to come in on the truck and the pioneers, and he had to spend quite a bit of time trying to take out the truck with that infantry unit because he thought that was a big threat to him. So that did help me, him focusing on that truck. Where did it go wrong for me? Probably the same truck, putting it into reserve and to outflank. I had this thought that, yeah, it could race on and it could take anything out. But when I think about it, the Pioneer unit didn't have any anti-armour. It had no anti-tank grenades. It didn't have a flamethrower. So it wasn't going to be particularly useful at that particular role. I think another point that it went awry for me was my unit of infantry on the left, which I was going to use to come up and put some pins on the 2-pounder that John had covering the road, so I could bring the truck on and at least his ambushing unit would have had a pin or 2 pins to stop him from easily hitting the truck. But the foobar the turn before was not good. So the foobar meant that they then ran away and I couldn't put the pin onto the 2-pounder. But I really was then sort of stuffed really with that truck. I wanted to get it along the road as far as I could, which would have taken me right up to the objective. I could have hopped out and taken out the infantry unit that was right close by. So it could have pushed things away. So the plan was still there, but I think looking back, the truck and the Pioneers could have been utilised somewhere else to more use. But saying that, that's how the game goes. A really good game. We like playing these early war games. There's nothing that's really outrageous apart from John's C9 tank with its 3 machine guns. But it's only 3 more than my Panzer IV with only 2 machine guns with the actual Hitler's buzzsaw. But anyway, yeah, a great game. Really enjoyed it, and looking forward to another Blitzkrieg game. We are trying to look at doing a Blitzkrieg campaign, but actually with chain of command. We've now got enough infantry figures to do the platoons, and we've probably now got just about enough support units of infantry, artillery or vehicles. We've got to work on some in-game techniques like barricades or minefields, something along those lines. But we're going to have a little practice with chain of command, I think. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the bolt action game. Not sure what the next video will be. We're trying to plan a game out for this Thursday coming. See where we go with it. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Give your thoughts on the game below. Give it a like, give it a share, subscribe if you haven't, hit the notification buttons if you want to know when the next video is up. But until the next time, have fun. But don't forget, if you still fancy helping me upgrade the iPad, go along to my coffee campaign and stick in a price of a coffee. I'll put the link below. Thanks very much.